What it do, baby? You know what time it is? English Wednesday. Every Wednesday we have interviews in English because we want to know more about our Anglophone athletes and my guest at this time. Woo! Legendary, the greatest defensive lineman in the history of the CFL. Yeah, I said it. Fight me on that. The man came from Brooklyn, New York. Brooklyn, New York to Montreal. Not only he fought for the city, he's a great player, he brought us some great cups, but the man is learning French. So he's a legend on the field and off the field. So I'm proud to give you a little chat with my dude, John Bowman, the legendary. I'm sorry, I'm going to say it with my chest. I'm going to parler ma parole, my talk. The legendary John Bowman. Let's go, baby. All right, so English Wednesday, and I'm glad, I'm happy, I'm blessed to have this man on the pod. We've met a lot of times when I go to the Percival Molson. I don't go to watch the Alouettes. I go to watch my man, John Bowman. How you doing, brother?
Thanks, man. I appreciate it. I'm good. How are you?
How's the quarantine?
It's good and bad. You know, I've been pretty much isolated for my 14 years up here, so I'm usually by myself. But not being able to go to the gym or just to go to the movies or go to a restaurant or something like that, it's a bit nerve wracking. But you know, we get through it. Hopefully it'll end soon and everybody comes out better for this.
But are you able to still train? Because, like, if there's a season, you got to be in shape. It's like year 45 for you next year.
Listen, like I do what I can at the house. I have a bunch of equipment like bands and boxes to jump on, and I got not a bench press, but like a rack kind of with some bands attached to it that I use. I got a spin bike thanks to Spinco, and some weights thanks to World Gym. And I hit the road like except for today because it's freezing outside. But I hit the road bike probably like 35, 40 kilometers. Try to get my long distance endurance in and do what I can do. I try to eat healthy, even though that's tough.
Do you cook? Are you a cook?
I'm a great cook. I'm not a good cleaner. So I can't wait to have my housekeeper back over.
Oh my God, me too. This is like cleaning the toilet is the worst thing for me. I have a bad back, and like I can't wait for Carol to be back.
Yeah. No, I clean my bathroom, but it's dust everywhere. So I just try to keep it to a minimum. No, I can't have company anyway, so nobody's gonna see it except for me. And if it gets
That's true.
to the point
That's
where
true.
I can't, if we get to a point where I can't stand it, then I'll handle it.
I know you're taking French classes. Can you keep up with the French classes?
Mais je comprends plus que je parle. Ça dépend. Ça dépend. How do you say? How fast someone talk? Parler vite.
Yeah.
Parler something like that. Yeah.
Your French is so fluid.
Well, I know what I know. Like I have my sayings that I got down, and if I'm cornered, backed up in the corner, and somebody's pushing me, I know what I can say and I know what I can't say. But if I hear a verb that I know and I know how to conjugate it in one of the 30 ways you guys got to conjugate one thing, you know, I'll understand. But if it's like if I don't understand the verbs being said, I'll just sit there and smile and shake my head.
Oh man, this is so great because I remember one of the first times actually I met you. You told me you were from New York and everything. I was like, the dude is from New York. He's from Brooklyn. So when the guy came here first and you saw all that snow and the way we are, Quebec people were amazing, but the way we are, what was your first reaction?
Well, I mean, it's actually the weather's not that far off. But I was actually raised in North Carolina. But compared to Brooklyn, the weather is not that far off. The only thing that got to me when I first got here was hearing a bunch of French. Because when we
Yeah.
first got here, we don't come to Montreal. We went to Saint Jean sur Richelieu, and
Okay.
we're like, and we there's no English around there. So we thought that was the only language that you guys spoke.
Yeah.
And in America, we're ignorant to anything outside of the 50 states, just about. So like coming here was like, oh, they only speak French. They sleep in igloos, and we're gonna be, it's gonna be miserable up there for this whole season. But once we got outside of Saint Jean and got to the city of Montreal, my eyes opened up.
Is
we
I have a question for you. Okay, so when you first came to Montreal, were you more worried about the French or worried about, man, where can I get my Jordans in Montreal?
For sure, we didn't think you guys. I didn't think you guys had anything Americanized. I didn't
Yeah,
know it was gonna be McDonald's or anything. Like I didn't even know where Canada was really. Like I knew it was the north, but I thought it was probably like a 20-hour flight. And come to find out, it's 45-minute flight from Brooklyn, from on
that's
JFK.
that's
So
crazy.
it
That's
was crazy.
crazy.
But
Okay,
the weather concerned me more than anything.
the weather concerned you more.
Yeah, because we
Wow,
didn't know. We thought you guys stayed in igloos. Because to us, like Canada equal Eskimos equal igloos. So we was
that's
like,
nuts.
yeah, yeah.
It's crazy because us Canadians, we often go to the United States. It's like we plan trips to United States. Like people from America, they don't plan trips to Canada.
Because that's why. Because we think you guys stay in igloos until you're about older, and and plus when I grew up, I grown up. What I mean, it wasn't much access to an internet. As a kid,
Yeah,
so I didn't really know what internet was until into high school, college. So once you get online and start exploring and see pictures of Montreal and Toronto and Vancouver, you're like, oh man, those places are good. But you guys also have teams. Like it was one team that called me, and before I came to Montreal, it was Edmonton Eskimos, and we were like,
yeah.
oh, there it is. Like you don't be called the Eskimos and not live in igloos for no reason. So
That's funny. But like your relatives or your friends in New York or wherever in the United States, what are some of the crazy questions they ask you about us?
Well, they just say, not, they know a little bit more now, but when I first
Yeah.
got here, they were just asking me how gross is poutine,
What do you mean
because
gross?
we just it's hard to grasp the concept unless you see it and eat it and taste it, because you're just thinking fries with gravy and cheese on it. You're like, oh, but I just explained to them it's just like cheesy mashed potatoes, and everybody's like, okay, you know. And then he's asking me about the language barrier, and I tell him that large majority of people are bilingual, especially in the center of Montreal where I stay at.
Yeah.
There's a lot of Anglo's, or not Anglo's, but bilingual people. So I mean, the questions aren't bad anymore. It's just one of the funniest things when I first got here, they always say, "Hey man, I heard you're overseas playing football." And I just be like, it's no sea in between. There's no sea in between Canada. And in fact, Vermont is a 40-minute drive for me. So there's no sea separating us. And that
Oh
was
my
that.
god,
To this day, that's probably the funniest thing people ask me. How's it playing overseas?
that's
And what
crazy.
time is it over there?
John, you and I we share one passion. Well, multiple ones, but the one that I said this guy's gonna be my favorite player is when I saw you with Jordans on your feet, and you told me you're a Jordan fan. Now I know a lot of people that listens to this podcast may not understand the love for some Jordan shoes. Talk to me about your love for some Jordan shoes.
Well, I mean, growing up, if you had Jordans, you were in. Like that was
Yeah,
that was the sign of, okay, this guy is cool or this girl is cool because well, back then I couldn't afford them. I can barely afford them now,
Yeah, yeah.
but
Expensive now.
they were just a sign of, okay, he's got style or she's got style, and growing up as a kid, we always coveted the Jordan,
Yeah.
and it's hard for newer age people to believe that a shoe that was like, I guess they're probably 30, 40 years old now to dominate an era, but just the fact that they are like the Jordan 1 is almost 40 years old, and I can guarantee you it's probably top two or three highest selling shoes of all time.
Oh, for sure,
Pair
for
just
sure.
came out. Pair just came out 2, 3 weeks ago. The purple Jordan ones,
Yeah.
and you couldn't get them. You couldn't find them. And a pair come out tomorrow. That's going to be extremely tough to get. Also,
Well, how many Jordans you have?
um, it's hard for me to say. I probably got 100 plus just Jordans, and probably got another 100 and so just multi-purpose, probably some random Nikes and like one pair, like probably 15 pair of Yeezys and
Wow.
some other shoes.
What's your favorite pair of Jordans? This
this
is my
is
tongue
this
right
is
now. I'm so happy. I'm so happy to talk with
this is
somebody.
actually the toughest question. Somebody asked me the other day. Like, I don't know, because like my favorite model of all time is like the threes, the fours,
Oh,
and the 11s. That's my favorite models.
oh,
But
shit! You can't see my smile right now, but the tree, the
yeah,
tree.
the threes are probably like the first Jordan that I like. Probably the second Jordans that I own were threes, and I went on just buying threes and 11s, and then I started getting some ones and some fours.
Yeah.
Fives really hurt my feet, really, but I got I got every number 1 through 14.
Okay, so Jordan ones on my like this is my shit. Jordan 1, it's my shoe. Okay, when I saw
Yes.
it on the Last Dance, I was like, yo, I got the same one on my feet right now. But I gotta admit, the Jordan 5, they look amazing. I bought the Paris Saint-Germain Jordan 5.
Yeah, yeah, good looking shoe.
Woo!
They look good. They just like they don't the tongue or something just hurts my feet. Like I have a pair of the just the regular original fives from like 10, 11 years ago.
Yeah,
They're still in my closet, and I have a pair of Gatorade fives, the green ones. They're
yeah.
in my closet. I wore them one time. They just hurt my feet, but they look good. They look really good.
Is there a pair of shoe that you could have bought? Because like sneakerheads, you see a shoe, you're like, I'm not gonna buy it. I'm gonna keep my money for another one that I really like. But it's still in your head, like till this day. Like for me, the Jordan, the Jordan 7, the Olympic ones with the
Yeah.
little 9 in the back, I could have bought it. I could have bought it twice, and twice I said, no, I'm not gonna buy it. Today, I regret it so much.
No, that was probably a big shoe. Every shoe that I ever wanted, I got, except for the only shoe, and it's going to surprise you, it's not a Jordan, that I
Oh,
want from the bottom of my heart that I gotta have is the Air Max 95 original gray and neon
yeah, 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 yeah,
green joint. That's an
yeah,
ultimate classic. I think I had a
yeah.
pair when I was like 15. Haven't really seen them since. And every year they get rumored to release, they never come out, and I'm always peeved at myself, because I think they came out like 5, 6 years ago, and I got lazy and I didn't get them. But I really hate that. I kicked myself in the butt for that one.
Wow, 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 wow,
And
wow.
it's not even my Jordan, just an Air Max 95.
Yo, that okay. So we for the past 5 minutes, we lost everybody that don't know about Jordan. So let's talk football a little bit. But like Jordans are so people are watching the documentary right now, The Last Dance, and like the episode 3 or 4 or 5 or 6, whatever, some of the one we just watched, they were talking about the Jordan and the way he made money with it, and people, I think they start to realize almost 30 years later how big of a market it is.
Yeah, I mean, they said they'd be happy if they sold 3 million in shoe, and they made like 100 and something million in the
Yeah.
first year or something like that. So it was iconic, and it came with the man. Like if he was terrible, and I think he said this on the show, if he wasn't good, he wouldn't have sold no shoes. you know.
Yeah.
So as sweet as the shoe is, if he wasn't good, if he didn't live up to it, nobody would have bought it. But the fact that he was iconic and one of the best players, arguably the best player ever, it came. The shoe was ultimately going to follow.
So you started your career, I think it was '06 in Montreal that you
Yep,
started.
2006. Yep,
So you
many
came
years
here in,
ago.
yeah, in '06. Did you ever thought that you would be such a big uh well, I'm gonna say it with my chest. I'm stop my talk, parler ma parole. Did you ever thought you'd be a legend in Montreal with the Alouettes? I'm gonna say my shit.
I mean, I don't even consider myself a legend, but no, I mean, no, I didn't think. I thought I was going to play maybe 3, 4 years, and because my first 2 years, like my first year especially, I didn't get a lot of playing time. My second year, I got more. But by the time my third year came, I was like, all right, I'm pretty good. But honestly, I always thought I was going to play till like 30, go back home, and then start working. Start my family, whatever. So it never crossed my mind that I was going to be this. And I don't really think about it until like my brother or somebody come to a game, and they'd be like, man, it's like 1,000, two. It's like so many Bowman jerseys
Yeah.
walking around the stadium. Like that's the only time it catches me in awe because I don't look at my stats. I don't look at like I don't put up highlight tapes. I don't whatever you know. But whenever I stop and look at the fans and the way they appreciate me, it brings a smile to my face and it warms me up inside. And it's because like I'm one of them. Like I'm a hard worker, not flashy. I don't brag. I don't, I'm level headed. Whatever. I talk to everybody. I take my time, shake hands, and kiss babies. Just because, like, I know, like just that moment of just talking to somebody can make their day. So when I think about it, like statistically and stuff like that, never really crossed my mind. But when I see people wear my jerseys and stopping me on the street, hey, Mr. Bowman, blah, 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 great season, or you coming back, or in the metro, some kids ask me for autograph, on my way to practice, that warms my heart. I don't really care for the numbers and all the highlights and stuff.
I remember when I was playing football, we're playing the same position. I started college at college football at 2011. And that was like in 2011, 12, 13, you were like the guy that I was watching because I was a smaller defensive end and I loved the way you move with your hands and your
Hmm.
hips and everything. Uh, how long does it take to be a master of those hand moves and shit like that? Because I remember there was one guy I was like, man, the O line barely touches him.
I mean, it takes a long time. Like I didn't have it when I first got here. Like my coach Mike Sinclair, who I
Yeah.
give credit for, a lot of my success in football. He taught me how to be a master of my craft, and don't just do it on game day. You got to practice it at home, at practice. You got to take your work with you a little bit. So it's not just I show up and I'm decent at football. It's what you do off the field. How do you conduct yourself? At home, am I doing work or am I having just going out and enjoying the city? Because I mean, we play in the summertime, and the summertime in Montreal is awfully inviting. So it's about so it's are you still practicing or taking your craft seriously? But it took a while. I want to say by 2008, I was starting to become my own, and nobody really remembers the Grey Cup from 2008 in Montreal. But if you watch that game, I had a pretty good game, and that kind of sent me on my way, to becoming who I was on the field. So, but it took a while, and I can't take all the credit for it. And also had great teammates by me, great D tackles. Anwar Stewart, one of the better defensive ends. Ed Filion, Hall of Famers, guys that won Defensive Player of the Years. So it wasn't just me.
2011, you played with a cast. How was it to play with a cast? Like, I always marvel at players playing with one hand in a freaking cast.
It was tough, but I mean, you don't think at first you think about it. Actually, 2 years I played with the Cats, like 11, and then again in like 16 or 17.
Yeah, that's
But
true. That's true.
it's tough at first, but once you get going, you don't think about it. But it can be good and bad. Like, it was hard to grab people, but like nobody was putting their hands out there to grab it. Then I was gonna slap that hand. But you don't think about it once you get going. It's actually pretty fun to see what you can do. You know, people think you're limited or something like that or hindered, but it's actually pretty cool. It's amazing what you can do once you put your mind to it.
So as like I told you, to 2011, that's where I started college football, and so they put me defensive end, and I was a third string kickoff and punt returner. I was third string backup.
You were multiple then.
That's good. I was small. Did you ever? Because I know defensive players, we think we have that offensive skills. Did you ever want to play on the other side of the ball?
I mean, actually, when I started playing football, I was a tight end. I didn't move to defensive end until I got to university, and in the States, it's different from college and university up here. But like we used to run, like when I first got to college, when I first got to university, it was a spread offense. It was 5 wide receivers or 4 wide receivers and a tight end, or three receivers, a tight end, and a running back. And the tight ends were never on the line of scrimmage. We were always split wide, and and that wasn't my forte. So after one game or two, they moved me to defensive end. My freshman year in college, and that's where I've been ever since. And crazy thing about that, when I first got to Montreal, Don Matthews was the coach, and he was like, "All right, man, since you made the team, we're gonna see how many ways we can use you." And they actually put me at tight end. Like, I used to play probably like 6, 7, 8 snaps a game at offense when I first got to Montreal, but nothing really. I didn't run routes. I just a bunch of blocking.
You've never like went to a coach and say, "Yo, if you put me in on that play, I think I can score. If you give me the ball right now."
And I'm going to call Anthony Calvillo out because actually, I want to say, was it my rookie year? One of those years, they had a play called 47 or 48 Bowman, depending on the defense. So this play, like, I was blocking for 2 seconds, releasing and going out for a route. And it was in my name. It's 48 Bowman, whatever. So I did my protection. I went out wide open, like couldn't be more open. And we're on the 2-yard line. And AC throws the ball to a fullback. I mean, the fullback scored, but he had to contort his body, spin back and fall back and roll into the end zone. And I was wide open in the back of the end zone. Like, I celebrated with him. But inside, I was hot. Like, even to this day, when I see AC, you know, we just hung out the other, probably earlier this year, me, him, and Ben Cahoon. And I still talk about it. And this is 14 years later. So, like, that was probably my glory moment. But, I mean, I don't really want to touch the ball much. Because as soon as you touch the ball, everybody's trying to hit you or you get tired. So, I'm not into getting hit. I'd rather do the hitting.
It's that time of the pod where I tell you that your company could make sure that this podcast lives forever and never ever and never ever. We are looking for sponsors, so if you want to join us, follow us on Instagram, send us a message on Instagram at Sans Restriction, and we'll fix something up. And like I said, I have a surprise for y'all. May the 20th, I have a surprise. You could have a piece of the pod in your house. I received everything. I'm unboxing everything right now. May the 20th, we have something big for the people. So stay tuned. Follow us on Instagram at Sans Restriction, and you'll have everything you need to know. Let's go back to my dude, legendary John Bowman. The one thing that I can say about you, like you're a great football player. But remember when I was watching you, the first thing I said, man, damn, that brother got swag with the Under Armour things, the visor. I know for football players it's pretty important, and I know like when you go to games, it's very important to look clean. Which one is more important? Look clean when you go to the game, before the game, or look clean on the field?
I mean, you definitely want to be both, but it's hard. Like it's hard to look cool and play defensive end because I mean, you might look good for like a minute or two, and then you're in the trenches battling against 300-pound guys who's grabbing you, pulling your jerseys. You got blood leaking from your arm, or your jersey's untucked. You know, your pants fall down. So, like, I try to look good as I can before the game, so people know, hey, if I'm on the field not looking 100, this is what I look like coming into the game. So you
Take
get
a
a
picture.
preview. Yeah, you get a preview of what I look like.
Do you, because you've been there long enough to see the difference between the two, do you loved football better like 10 years ago when the hitting was wild and free? Or right now when it's, let me hug you and put you on the floor and maybe put a pillow under your head and sing you a song?
I mean, it's definitely changed. I can't say whether I love it either way. I mean, for sure, I love hitting people, but I'd rather be safe and have as safe as we can in football because you'll never be safe. But you want to minimize the risk of injuries in this violent, very violent sport, high contact, high speeds. So, in the interest of safety and keeping guys healthy, not now, but 20 years from now, with all the new medical advancements and the things we can see from guys who played in that rugged era of football, just think about the future of guys. Football is only a blip on the radar, and you want to be as healthy as you can for your family down the road, for your own sanity, and for your betterment of your life. Because a lot of guys only play a couple years of football. I'm one of the there's only a couple rare ones that play this long, and I've been blessed to play this long. But it's not a normal career, and you want to make sure your after career is healthy as it can be, and that you're able to live a good life.
Okay, now tell me about the Grey Cups because I remember you win the Grey Cup and City go crazy. Um, what's like for a guy that's from New York, he comes here and he sees like a full city go crazy for a Grey Cup for the CFL. What was your reaction?
I was floored. I had no idea what to expect. So 2008. This is like whatever. Like we went to the Grey Cup in Montreal. We played in it, and the stadium was packed. So that was my first taste of wow. The Canada really loves football. I want to say it was because we played at Olympic Stadium. It was like 70, 75, 80,000 people. I can't remember. 60,000 were for us. So just to hear that atmosphere in the big O, and then we come back the next year and go 15-3 and win the Grey Cup, and I'm thinking, okay, it'll be a couple thousand people. I think it was like 200, 300,000 people on St.
Yeah.
Catharines during the parade. It was insane, like probably the most mind blowing experience I've ever had in my life. And they let me bring the cup through the crowd and let the people touch it, and that was one of the most mind blowing experiences for me. So 2009, end of 2008 Grey Cup, 2009 is when I knew that Canada was more, or Montreal was more than just a hockey town. They embrace winners, they embrace people that compete and fought hard.
And then you won it again in 2010.
Yeah, I mean 2010. It was like both of them are special, but we expected to win in 2010. So like winning in 2009, opening my eyes to that kind of stuff
Yeah.
was good. Winning in 2010 is actually fun because like we took the Grey Cup to Quebec City,
Yeah.
and I've never by then I had never been to Quebec City, and we were like, okay, we're going. I think Matthew Prue was like, I'm gonna take it to my town, play college here in Laval, whatever. Bowman, just come have a good time. So I was like, fine, go to this little town, have a beer and eat some food. It was wild. Like Quebec City, man, like it was wild. We had a great time. I can't say what all we did, but like we had a good time in Quebec City, showing the cup around and meeting the people.
Okay, so without telling me what happened, you gotta tell me what's the biggest party. The biggest party was in Montreal, or the biggest party was in Quebec City?
Well, I mean the part. I mean, of course, the biggest part is in Montreal because it's more people here. I want to say.
Yeah.
So when we won the Grey Cup in 2009 or 10, I can't remember. The day we landed, Usher and Trey Songz was having a concert in Montreal,
Oh wow.
and exactly. And I forgot it used to be an old movie theater like right off St. Catherine. I can't remember the name of the place. And they invited us to. They gave us a VIP area. Say, hey man, bring the Grey Cup, whatever. So we begged Jim Pop. You know what I mean? Listen, we need the cup for the night. You know, we're going to Trey Songz and Usher at the party, and we're gonna be live. So they let us get the Grey Cup. We got pictures with Trey Songz in the club with the Grey Cup. It was that was a good time, but Quebec City it was crazy. It was like I feel like I was in university. I mean, because it's really a university town
Yeah.
or business people, but the people that came out were a bunch of university students, and it felt like winning a college championship. They loved it. It was keg stands and
Wow.
flying air bombs. It was crazy. Quebec City showed us a really good time.
Now that you've been here for such a long time, did you ever visit a small city in the province that you're like, man, there's not a lot of people here, and plus, there's not a lot of brothers here.
Oh, I mean, I did that early. Like, I want to say back in like that was a long time ago when we used to play hockey again. We used to go around and play hockey against people. Like, I didn't play. I was just like on the team going around. We went to Rowan Naranda. Rowan Naranda.
There you go. You
Oh,
got it. You got it.
oh, we. Like it was like they were like it was no black people, and I was like, I just felt out of place. But ended up being a good time, whatever. But I realized there was a lot of cultural differences, and there
Oh
was
my
no English.
god.
There was no English there at
Yeah.
all. So
Oh,
I was definitely out of place.
Rwanda, you're not talking in English in Rwanda.
But yeah, that was probably one of the cities where I was like, "Yee, we're gonna need some internet or something up here."
Okay, so in on the pod, because I don't want to keep you too long, even though it's fun. On the pod, we play a game. So I name you a teammate, and you're gonna tell me a small story about the person or whatever, so we can get to know more of the teammate. And the one thing, like you've been talking and everything, and it's pretty fun. And what I realized is we never hear y'all talk. We
Ever.
never hear. No, we never
Y'all
hear.
don't even see our faces either. Like everybody's always in helmets and whatever.
Yeah, it's nuts.
Yeah. Yeah.
We gotta change that because it's fun to hear your talk. Okay, so number one, I always messed up his name on the pod. I'm so sorry. Boris Bede came on the pod and like schooled me on this guy, Vernon Adams. Tell me something about Vernon.
I mean, Vernon is a character. He actually started off rough. He bounced around for like 5 teams, and then he came back to Montreal. He kind of, now he's taking it seriously. He knows what's expected from a quarterback. Not just winning games, but leadership all the time in the locker room,
Yeah.
in the community, in the weight room, always being accountable. So, I mean, I'm too old. Like, I don't really hang out with these guys, but I just see him a lot in the locker room. But he's definitely matured, and he's taking the role more seriously. And he's actually like he's a very emotional guy. So I want to say like 2 years ago when everybody's rooting for Johnny Manziel because he had a bad game, he did some things that he shouldn't have. He said some things he shouldn't have said, and he owned up to him, and he paid his time, and now he's in a good position to lead the Alouettes down the road.
Who's putting the music in the locker room?
The young kids. It's always like three or four speakers going on. Like I just put on my headphones because I listen to what I listen to, and I can't understand any words that come by to any artist they listen to. So it's usually like Greg Reed on offense. Probably one of the receivers on offense, Greg Reed on defense. No old linemen really play music because most of them listen to country music.
Yeah,
But
yeah, 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 yeah.
but yeah, I just keep my headphones up. And Fabian Foot used to play the music too.
Where are you listening?
I listen to my old school. I listen to Pastor Troy because that was what I grew up on. That's what get me
Yeah.
ready for football. I listen to Jay Z. I listen to some Johnny Cash actually. Just a couple of songs. Things that get me in my mindset. Lil Jon and the East Side Boys.
Oh
You
yeah, for
know,
sure.
uh, things that I find that I still appreciate that get me ready for football.
Okay, next teammate. So it's current or ex teammates. Next
Perfect.
teammates. Enoch Muamba. The guy is becoming a huge star.
Yeah, he's a great guy, great football guy, very smart. He's I want like he's it's weird because like I can't take him seriously ever because he's always joking. So like I remember one time he's telling me something on the field, and like I'm laughing before the play. He's like, "No, what you laughing at?" And I think it was in Calgary, and I ended up making a play. He's like, "He's only you only made it because I told you to do." I was like, "I didn't even believe you." Like it's hard to take him seriously all the time, but he's a great leader. He's a great father and a great husband also. So all of that stuff correlates to becoming a good football player.
That's cool. Okay, we're going past teammates now. I need to ask you about this man because I remember I covered a practice of the Alouettes. I think I was doing was my some of my debuts on RDS, and that brother came to the practice eating Doritos. Talk to me about Ocho Cinco.
The dude, like skinniest guy I've ever met in my life. Like, how did he play in the NFL for 14 years?
I can't believe.
No, I mean, great teammate, great teammate. Like, only thing he ate was McDonald's and chips and whatever, and drove a Fiat. But I thought he was gonna be, and I thought he was gonna be, and I don't know if I can curse on here, but I thought he was gonna be an asshole. And so, like,
Yeah,
you take all these misconceptions of people from what you see on TV or what you read. I thought he was gonna be a huge diva, whatever, make it all about him. But the guy was actually a great teammate. Like always wanted to be around the guys. I seen him take guys under his wing. Trying to help guys in practice. Yeah, I mean, he hung out, did his own thing. He was a bit of a, like a loner. Like went by himself a lot, smoked a little cigar, whatever, have a good time, enjoy Montreal. But he's actually a good teammate, and he actually keeps in touch with some guys now still. But funny guy. I called him Bones. So really, really good dude.
ex teammate again. The man disrespected me at a basketball game, so I'm going for a layup, and he blocked me from behind with his 5'1" size Ty Sutton.
No, he's still Terrell is back. He just signed this year. He's back
Oh,
with the
he's tied
Alouettes.
again.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Bring
Good,
the man
like good
back.
dude. He
Yeah.
just had a kid too. He just had a son. Lucky him. He got on his first try. Like hard worker. Extremely proud guy. He plays with passion. I've been around some great running backs, and he puts me in the mindset of somebody from the past. Probably my top three favorite teammates of all time is Avon Coburn, and
Oh
he's in
yeah.
that mindset. He'll do whatever it takes to get a victory. It's going to take a lot of guys to knock him down. Me and him take French classes together,
Oh
and
yeah.
he's way better than me. He went to Northwestern, so he's just a really smart guy. But great teammate. He just got married, just had a kid, and he's a good dude. Overall, good dude.
I don't know if you played with him or if you like cross paths with him, but my favorite player back in the days, yes, Ben Cahoon and Tuli Calvillo and everything, but Copeland is Adam? No,
Oh,
Jermaine
Jermaine.
Copeland. Jermaine
Yeah,
Copeland. Talk to me
So when I
about
got here,
Jermaine.
when I got here, he was gone to Calgary. So I played
Oh
against
yeah,
him.
exactly.
I played against him. He's actually a good, like a great player. Like I don't know how he gets lost in all of the rankings and stuff that TSN does now about best receivers, whatever. He's a good receiver. And actually remember him playing when I was in high school or college. He used to play for Tennessee or something like that. And I remember him playing with Peyton Manning. So he's a great competitor, king of the celebrations.
Oh
I
yeah.
remember every time they scored, it was like a bobsled or a speed walk. It was something hilarious, pop lock contest. But they used to have fun in Calgary. So he's a great competitor and a good dude too. I think he's coaching somewhere now.
Yeah. I heard he was a football coach. I got two last one for you. Two last one. So next one is my dude, favorite player of all time, Ben Kahoo.
That's my boy. I call him Hooney. His wife hates it. Uh, his wife hates it. She's like, why does he call you Hooney? um, we just hung out. Like I want to say in January, February, he came up here and we hung out we had dinner and whatever. Great dude. Like he didn't care who I was or who anybody was. He treated everybody fairly. He treated everybody, no matter if they're a rookie or a Hall of Fame guy. He treated everybody fairly. He taught me how to be a pro. Him along with AC and Anwar, all of them taught me how to be a pro and sat me down, seeing I was going to become a good player, and just told me how to be responsible and respectful. And going along with that, like our Grey Cup win, surprisingly enough, after we brought the Grey Cup to the after party, the first player in there was Ben Cahoon. You know, he didn't drink or anything. Yeah, he was at the club. He didn't drink or anything. Like he doesn't. I don't think he drinks, but he was in the club, shirt tucked in. Like we were in the section having a good time dancing. He's like, I told you I was coming. I told you I was coming. And he came. He was there at like 9 o'clock.
Wow, for sure y'all
he,
screamed.
he was gone at like 10:30.
Yeah.
But great dude, super funny. He was like if you look at him, you wouldn't tell he was funny. The funniest guy I've ever met, and probably the biggest prankster that there's ever been on the team.
Oh, he's doing okay. Tell me one prank, the best prank Ben Cahoon did.
Um, I think it was like a rookie. Like a lot of stuff I can't say,
Yeah.
but one of the greatest things he did, like a rookie didn't sing or something like that, and you know, I think I can't confirm or deny it was Ben Cahoon, but he got there first to practice, and the rookie's clothes was taped up and thrown in the freezer, so it was
Wow.
frozen, and he couldn't he couldn't have his stuff for practice. But you know, and that was like when I was like, oh man, this guy's ruthless. So that was one of the better things he did.
You said that guy is ruthless.
Ruthless. Like that's one of the stories I can share. But like, and he won't take credit for a lot of the stuff because we call it the phantom because you never know who's going to do it or when it's going to happen.
Yeah.
But it was some things done, and that was probably one of the things I can share.
Okay, last one. The dude, the legend, the greatest player in the Montreal Alouette history, and one of the greatest quarterback of all time, Anthony Calvillo.
Yeah, great man. Battled a lot of adversity, cancer with his wife, like a whole bunch of stuff, and just to get to practice every day. I've only seen him have one meltdown in the 11 years I played with him, 10, 11 years I played with him. Professional all the time. Hated sweatpants.
What do you mean?
Or like because back in those days we can travel anytime we fly, we can wear whatever we wanted. So like everybody wears sweats, and he used to wear a suit. He kind of got me wearing suits every travel now. We used to wear sweats, and he's like, "Y'all look like a bunch of jakes. I can't believe you guys travel like this. You guys should have more respect for yourself."
Wow.
But again, like that was just who he was. He was always on. Like, and when you're in that light, like when you're in that light, you got to be on all the time. You can't have no off days. And like one of the saddest things I've ever seen him do. We were at a Jewish breakfast for a community service, and we're using a bathroom, and this guy walks in. The guy's like, "Hey, Mr. Galvillo, can I get your autograph?" And I had to top foot Anthony because Anthony won't gonna say it. I was like, "Dude, he's peeing. Like, come on, can you get some respect?" But I would never want to be that guy to where I can't use the bathroom. Like Michael Jordan said on his documentary, only time he had to himself when he was in his hotel room.
Yeah.
Like, and I kind of felt that way it was for Anthony Calvillo to a certain extent. Like you never had time to yourself. You never had time to go out and to relax. Every time I was out with them, I know it was always a show, but true professional and like Ben Cahoon didn't really care what you did or like whether you're a rookie or a vet. He talked to everybody the same, treated everybody fairly and equally. Once you get to know him, he's a really funny guy. Also, he's like got that Seinfeld humor though. You got to be smart to understand what his joke is. But good dude, and I talk to him to this day also.
Yo, man, it's been amazing talking to you on the pod, brother.
Hey, thanks for having me, man. It took you 14 years to get me on, but we got it.
Oh! Hey! When you started, I was still playing.
I'm that old then. Man, man,
I'm telling you. I wish that there's a season this year, and if there is not, I hope you're still playing the year after, so I can enjoy some greatness, another year of greatness at the Percival Molson.
Thank you, man. You guys have a good one.
Man, what a good time with John. Talking about shoes. I'm doing my Allen Iverson practice, but with shoes. If you don't know, you think I'm dumb now. But talking about shoes is so great. I know, like I'm made a poll on the @Sans Restriction Instagram account. Follow us, and I said, "Do you want to know more about shoes?" And it was an overwhelming no. We don't care. I'm like, man, I'm gonna talk shoes with my guy John Bowman. But yeah, thank you for being here for another pod. Thanks to Bruno, the partner of the pod. He's holding it down since day one. Thanks for Mathieu Brutus for the tracks. And so many great stories about Calvillo, Cahoon, and all the other guys. Ocho Cinco, I didn't know, and now I know. So I like the guy a little bit more. So thank you, John, and see you Friday with a pretty big interview. You don't want to miss this one. So thanks again, part of the people. Put it on your story, Instagram. Hey, before I forget, at 2,000 likes or followers on Instagram, we will release an interview with a top 5 NHL Quebec player. You don't want to miss this one. It's already been taped for 3 weeks. We're not giving it away if we're not at 2,000 followers. So make sure that everybody follows Sans Restriction. Let's go, baby. See you next time.